Richard Rodgers with a walk-off touchdown. Total disbelief at Ford Field.
He may go all the way to the 20 down the right side, and there's Randall Cobb to the 5, to the end zone, to the touchdown. Oh my goodness.
Welcome, everybody, to the Green and Golden Boys Packers podcast. This is the podcast for Packer fans who are already booking their flights to Los Angeles this February. Marcus, oh, what a game that was.
What a game. I described it as both simultaneously infuriating and exhilarating.
I turned on that TV, and after we were up 17-0, I was telling to my wife, I don't even want this game to be close. It's going to be a blowout. Let's just blow these guys out because, the first drive, the 49ers really couldn't do anything in that first half. And there we were, 17-0. We didn't get in. We went for on fourth down, didn't get in right on the goal line there. But I said, you know what? That's cool. We're for sure not going to regret those 3 points later. We're just rolling. And I was actually texting you saying, hey, I technically predicted a 45-0 rout at the end of the last podcast, kind of jokingly. And I think as I was trying to hit send on that text, the 49ers ran back that kick return from Mason all the way to the 30-yard line or something, and Mason saving tackle from it going all the way to the house. So I might have jinxed us a little bit there, but until that point, holy crap, it was looking real smooth for us, huh?
It was, and with a minute left in the half, what did I text you? I was like, all right, now we just can't allow any points. And of course, here comes this huge kickoff return to just set them up for a touchdown going into halftime. All of a sudden, it's 17-7. And they get the ball back, and their offense was rolling that last drive. And it's like, oh, man, this is – I can see where this is going. And lo and behold, they drive again, and it's 17-14. And I'm just like, geez, it's just insane how quickly the tide can turn in the NFL.
Well, and you see the value in deferring, right? I know you and I are both on, especially with the way the first couple of weeks went. And last year, we like the Packers play better with a lead, except for 7 seconds left in the game. But in general, they do. So I still stand by. I want the ball first, but you do see the value in being able to double up on points, 7 at the end of the half, and then as you said, getting a quick 7 to start the second half. Two things on that return. I noticed Mason was kicking him to the goal line pretty regularly. Do you think that was a special teams decision? Do you think he just wasn't getting the ball out of the end zone? My first thought was, why did we allow that to happen? But then I saw it a few more times, and I'm like, that maybe that's part of our special team strategy. What'd you think on that?
I don't know why that would be part of your strategy with a minute left in the half when the other team's going to get the ball right back. I think you kicked that one through the end zone. I don't understand any advantage. I mean, if there were 3 or 4 minutes left in the half, I could see that, because maybe you're trying to get them pinned back, and maybe they catch it at the goal line, and they get a 15 or less than a 25-yard return. But with a minute left, I have no idea why you would choose to do that. Yeah. Yep.
Second, intentional grounding or not at the
absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Matt LaFleur. I mean, look, they kind of skirted it on the broadcast, but I mean, he was within the tackles. There was no receiver, and he just threw the ball down at the ground. I mean, how is that? That's like textbook intentional grounding.
And the internet is saying, well, he was being hit, so you don't really know where he was going. He was kind of being hit.
So?
He was being contacted, and you see, I just watched it just before we got on the air, so official. He put the ball up in the air to protect it for a second, looked around, and then appeared to throw it straight down to the ground. So it wasn't like he was bringing the ball back and had an open receiver or had even a chance at anyone. There was no receiver even close. And if you look at where where the internet is arguing he was going to throw it, you only see Packer jerseys. So I think he was being contacted. He saw the Packer jerseys and threw it straight into the ground. And if it's technically not grounding, like the internet says, well, technically it's not grounding because of this, this, and this. Well, to them I say, well, let's implement the catch rule, right? If it looks like grounding, it's grounding, because he was only, you know what I mean? Like if it looks like a catch, it's a catch. Even if it does kind of touch the ground a little bit, let's apply that same logic in this play, because the only thing that Garoppolo can't have happen is a sack. So he intentionally grounded the ball,
absolutely,
to avoid that, and it's bullshit.
And it's like, okay, well then there's the biggest loophole in that rule that we've seen in forever. I mean, what's going to stop every single quarterback from just doing that from now on? So yeah, that was textbook grounding in my opinion, and otherwise you'd see that every single week.
Yeah, so they essentially set the precedent that if the quarterback's being touched at all, it's they're allowed to intentional ground. But and you know what, we overcame. This is the difference between Packer fans and other fans. We'll complain about the refs, but we won't blame them for any losses or wins. But I will say it did feel like a long day, because the second half was a little bit of a different story, right? With the 49ers kind of coming back with a vengeance, quickly getting those 14 points. And then some questionable pass interference calls both ways. Some great play by, finally the 49ers got to their game plan of kind of grinding the ball, longer drives down the field. And it quickly became a close game.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot closer than I think either of us would have liked. I don't know what we expect. Given the start, and I don't know, given the opponent too, and the coach. I think every time we play the Niners with a Kyle Shanahan-led offense, it's you never really know. No lead is safe when they can just come out of nowhere and scheme up a crazy, 80-yard drive with these just bizarre plays. Snapping it to the in-motion receiver and then, bringing in, a spread option quarterback and having him run it. Although that was an obvious play, like I was yelling at the TV, I was like, this is like what you would think they were going to run when they brought in Trey Lance. Like, right. This is, but again, they had that guy come out and just bowl over anybody in the way. But anyways,
to kind of get away from the refs, although I'm going to bring up a part of the game where the internet is broken because of the refs, is the Devontae hit, right? Where it was pretty clearly helmet to helmet, and if it wasn't helmet to helmet, it was essentially helmet to helmet, and that's got to be called as targeting, because he was for sure a defensive receiver. And I think we both have similar opinions on that. It's a missed call. Okay, let's move on. The thing that no one is talking about, that was the one drive, in my opinion, that LaFleur made the same mistake that he made in the Saints game. It was, where the game got tight, and all of a sudden we ran 3 straight deep ball routes and didn't run the ball, didn't have any shorter check down options. And of course, one of them, Devontae got leveled in, and we probably could have got a penalty and moved the chains there. But that was a very quick 3 and out at the time of the game where, it got close and we needed to possess the ball more than essentially 30 seconds of game clock. What do you make of that? Is it Aaron checking out of things? Is it LaFleur just saying, it's working for us, let's attack it? But 3 in a row for a 3 and out just kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, and I would agree. And I think during Aaron Rodgers' press conference, I think he mentioned that he had called those 2 plays after, and LaFleur called the first one. Okay. Maybe I'm getting my wires crossed, but I thought he had said that, hey, it was my decision to throw those 2 after that first one. And it's frustrating on 2 levels. One, it didn't work. And right. You're throwing the ball, you're stopping the clock with incompletions. 2, the running game had been working. The running game and the play action game had been working up to that point. So why get away from that? We'd been able to run the ball. We had been able to, have a strong time of possession to that point. Why all of a sudden do you feel like you need to chuck the ball 3 times with a lead? You know what I mean? Like I just don't understand the mindset. Yep. So a little bit frustrating.
And it just reminded me again of kind of what they promised they wouldn't do, is just get overly focused on the pass. And despite me only pointing out the one series, frankly, we did it the whole game. Something like 18 targets to Devontae Adams, compared to like the second highest of 4, I think, to Lazard. And maybe you're looking at the numbers. That might be right. So despite the amazing game and the physicality of us on the offensive line, which we should talk about, the defensive line, which we should definitely talk about. I think we sacked Garoppolo 3 or maybe 4 times. We still are really dependent on Devontae, and it showed in the one series. And frankly, I am shocked that in that last 37-second drive, they didn't double or triple Devontae Adams and say someone else has to beat us, because the fact that Devontae had that much space on both of those plays shocks me.
Yeah, and I think the logic there from the 49ers perspective is just to keep everything inside, between the two sidelines. Don't let anybody get to the sideline and cause a timeout there. But it's Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. I mean, I don't care who is trying to defend that play. It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And to your point, if they do double or triple Devontae, I mean, I think they know that we have guys that can get open and can be dangerous. So it's kind of a pick your poison moment. Do we try to stop the best receiver in the NFL and let MVS or Alan Lazard or Robert Tonyan run free in the middle? I mean, it's kind of a pick your poison.
It is. I think it is a pick your poison, but I think I'd pick the poison that isn't the poison that's been killing me all day, right? Maybe have Lazard make the clutch catch, and because Adams is, he is, right? But hey, I'll take it. It was wonderful there. Speaking of Tonyan, he didn't have a great game in terms of receptions and yards. He had several quick blocks on Bosa, knocking him to the ground several times, sometimes knocking down several other defenders, giving a much needed time for that play to develop and other plays throughout the game. So Rob Tonyan, even though you weren't on the stat sheet as much, I think he had a heck of a game. But hey, that whole offensive line, what a job, right? We were very, very nervous about this defensive front that we were up against, essentially down to our third string left tackle. And what was Rodgers sacked? Twice? Maybe? I know once. But hell of a job, especially against this 49ers defensive front.
Yeah, for sure. And, to that point, I mean, I think what we're seeing from the line is encouraging. We've got. I think before that game, the offensive line had a collective 3 starts in the NFL or 4 starts in the NFL, or I should say the new pieces to the offensive line.
Yep.
And then Josh Nijman coming in and being our third string left tackle. And I guess aside from 1 or 2 early penalties, he played pretty well. I mean, Aaron Rodgers praised his performance after the game, and to go up against a guy like a Pro Bowl pass rusher in Joey Bosa and hold your own, is pretty incredible. And I'm excited that this isn't going to be the best offensive line that we're going to see. I mean, when we get Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins back, I mean, look out. I think that's going to open the offense up a little bit, and it's scary to think about when what Aaron Rodgers can do when he has even more time in the pocket.
100%. Defensively, I had, usually I'm always praising Jair Alexander. In my mind, many times he can't do anything wrong. Amazing interception. I don't know where he came from on that deep ball from Garoppolo, where I don't think our offense ended up capitalizing on that drive, but still, I think he came off his man, came completely across the field and kind of picked the ball away from. I forget who the receiver was at the time, but again, it was essentially a punt, but it was likely an incomplete pass against most corners. But the fact that he was able to catch up to that ball was amazing. He did give up